let's open up our kit and let's see what's inside. We have a complete assembly. That's a motor, gear, and regulator assembly. Wow, wonderful. This gets easier by the moment. So let's put it inside. You have to do some fumbling to get it all inside. The holes are going to line up. You know, I'm using fancy tools here. This is a magnetic socket, but you could do this by hand. Start a bolt. One thing you want to make sure of, when you place the regulator in the door, you don't want to be on the other side of the glass. Right here, I'm feeling the top of the regulator. You don't want to be behind the glass. So I have all the bolts there. Now let's find the pigtail. The pigtail is the electrical connection from the motor to the wiring harness. Okay, so let's put the pigtail through the hole. And reattach the motor electrically. We should be able to see the regulator move at this point. There it goes. Good. Now I want to line it up with my access hole for my window because in a moment we're going to reattach the glass. So now we can tighten down the bolt. Now remember our window stop that held the glass in place? We want to make sure that our glass is in the run channels. The run channels are the vertical rubbers that run north and south. Here we go. So make sure your glass is still in there. Get it in the groove. And let's drop our glass in place. Those run channels are going to be very important in just a moment because what happens is they used to put felt in here so the glass would have a nice, easy ride. Today, it's just rubber. So what happens is the glass will grip that rubber and it can't move. In this situation, the gear broke because it couldn't drive the glass. So what you always want to do on every door in this vehicle is keep these well lubricated. And all you have to do, you don't have to remove the panel. It's very simple. And I'm going to show you in just a second. But you just want to spray lubrication in these rubbers and let it run down. They're called run channels, again. So now we have the glass in place. We have our mounts aligned with the regulator. Now this is going to be a perfect example of why this regulator failed, or the gear, I should say. The glass is right in these rubber grooves, and it's very tight. Okay, so what we're going to do is show you how to lubricate that to do a little preventive maintenance. So you just spray away, and that will run like a river. Same as well over here. And you want to make sure the glass is riding in the groove. Right now, I can see that my glass is actually outside that groove. You see right here where the rubber is not in the groove correctly? We don't want that. The glass must ride evenly on its full movement. Okay, so there we go. Wow, look at that. Okay. So make sure your glass is moving easily before you reattach it. You're going to be right back where you started with a broken gear. And if you want, and I highly suggest it, lubricate away on anything in there that has a moving part. The biggest problem with car windows today, again, is this cable will break or the gear will go, only because people don't keep these moist. And what happens is, especially down here in Florida, the hot sun will basically bond the rubber to the glass and it can't move. And something's got to go, and it'd be the gear or the regulator. This works wonderful. So now it's just a question of putting it all back together. We have all our bolts tight. Take our vapor barrier. If you happen to destroy this in the process, and sometimes it happens, it's not the end of the world. You can lose your vapor barrier. It's not that big a deal. Now when you put the panel back on, we'll do it just like this assembly. This edge is very important. Some windows you may work on will have a rubber edge that is removable and the panel just bolts up to it. This one actually has a ridge. So make sure all your little devices that hold the panel are in place. Now in this situation we have this part here, and that's what holds the handle, so when you pull on the door, you have something rigid to hold to. It's very tight because the hole here is not elongated enough to put the plug in. So we can easily just, don't be afraid of making some improvements on Nissan. It's not a problem. Okay. So we put our plug through, and now we get our sound deadening device. Something that's come unglued, but I'm sure it will sustain itself. We just get it mounted there. There we go. So again, that lip on the top is the most important part of this. There we go. Once the lip is across the top, the panel should seat itself. And how you'll know if it's seated or not is if all the little plastic pieces line up. And they are. And you'll hear them snap back in. Make sure you get them all in because sometimes you have to actually rotate them in line. The switch has these, has a little clip here, so that makes it real simple. Some of those switches you have to actually remove with screws. And it has a lip here. The lip goes underneath and just voila. Number one, the door pull. That is our main structural device. And we're going to put the two bolts in the bottom. What I like to do after repair is simply close the door with the window down and make sure everything's working normally as before. And it is. And our power window repair is complete. All you need to do is clean the glass. So thank you, and I appreciate you watching our video, and have a good day.